I just kind of enjoy the hot steaminess of a hot shower. It's really nice. And especially, hey there my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. Today's minimalism video is going to be 10 ways to do self-care without spending any money or a little bit amount of money. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go. Woo. Before we get started, as usual, if you wish to help out my channel, you can consider checking out my Patreon. I do monthly vlogs there, and if that's of no interest to you, then you can just help my channel out by giving this video a thumbs up, a like, and a subscribe for the algorithm. Okay, so let's get right into the list. So I wanted to make this list because you guys know that I'm very pro beauty and taking care of yourself and doing it on the budget in the most frugal but most efficient way possible. I really do think that you should not have to be able to sacrifice beauty to be a minimalist. That's not my vibe, and I really wouldn't wish that for my Cobras. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys 10 things that I do or implement in my beauty routine that keep me feeling beautiful without feeling like I'm breaking the bank. So without further ado, let's get right into the list. Okay, number one of the things is to take a hot shower. Yes, I know that some of these involve money. You have to pay your water bill. I know, okay, fine. But I mean, like, you didn't have to go out and pay for your shower. So yeah, I'm not going to try to like explain these too deeply, but taking a hot shower for me is something that's really, really pampering. I remember when I read Mr. Money Stash, he's a very frugal, very stoic type of minimalist, and he says that he recommends taking cold showers. So there's a period of time where I would take cold showers because I was trying to be a Viking, and it was a really good experiment because it definitely taught me a lot about the luxury of having hot water. Like, think about that. You have hot water on command. I'm not trying to be very like, what is that, elitist in this thought process saying like,
you are so privileged to have hot water.
It's not that. I feel like I really cherish having hot water when I have experimented not having hot water. I mean, there's been plenty of times in history where people didn't have access to hot water. So definitely really nice having hot water. So for me, after a long day, I just kind of enjoy the hot steaminess of a hot shower. It's really nice. And especially when I come back from my runs, especially in like November and December, and it's so cold outside and I take a nice hot shower, I feel amazing. And I heard it's good for circulation. So good circulation also helps with like health and beauty. So take that as you will. Okay, number 2. Exercise. This is actually a tip that I picked up from Mr. Money Stash's wife, although technically I think ex-wife because they're divorced, but besides the point. She wrote something in his blog that really stuck with me years later, and that was a lot of us wear blush because we think it will make us look more youthful and more healthy, but in all reality, if you want to look flushed and beautiful, that look that blush gives you, you could just do it with exercise. And I was like, well, that's deep. That's real deep. Now don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna be wearing blush. But I definitely exercise a lot more now for my mental health. When I was younger, in my 20s and in my teens, I used to work out purely for aesthetics. Sometimes there were times like I hated it and I just didn't want to exercise anymore, but I would do it just for like the bod. Now I'm at a heavier weight, but I really do enjoy running because I just feel like the cold air in my lungs, and I feel so good. Like my legs are getting a good pump, and I feel a lot better. I remember there was a period of time where I was sitting in my chair and I was like, I feel exhausted sitting in my chair. And then I realized like, oh my God, I've become really unhealthy. I need to do something about this. So I think that a little bit of exercise, not necessarily often working out or even a lot of exercise or exercise to the point where like you're just like hurting yourself. I'm just saying like a little bit of exercise is a good form of self-care. I think like maybe working out 2 times or, you know, once, even at the very least, maybe on the weekends, that is a really good form of self-care because you're taking care of your health. And trust me, when you feel good about yourself, it just makes life so much easier. Life's already hard enough. Why don't we also feel good in our bodies? Okay, number 3, make a hot drink. So I'm a big advocate for drinks. You guys know that I have made a bunch of anti-hauls of things that I don't buy, but there's actually one luxury that I still indulge myself in, which is one of the faux pas anti things you really shouldn't be doing, which is like buying drinks. I'm actually the opposite camp. I think you should indulge yourself in drinks. I think that drinks are one of the luxuries that I'm really happy is considered a luxury. So I'm all for going to Timmy's, go to Starbucks, go to your Dunkin' Donuts, get yourself a hot drink. I'm totally about that. And if you want to be frugal about it, I think that you can make it at home. You can make these designer drinks at home. This is a tip that I actually picked up from Pepper Princess. She's a frugal millionaire, and she talks about that if you really feel like you can't give up your Starbucks, just buy the Starbucks mug, buy the Starbucks packaging, and make it at home. And I was like, oh, that's so smart. As a stockholder of Starbucks, I'm definitely going to be supporting Starbucks. So I did that. I went out and I did that. I bought the mug. Let me show you guys. It's like the hard plastic type. Will had bought me the ceramic one when we first started dating, and I don't remember what happened. Somebody knocked it, him or I, and it smashed. So he got me another one for my birthday. I told him, let's not get a ceramic one this time around. Let's get a harder one. I literally just put my black coffee in here, my tea, my lattes, take it with me to Starbucks, or sometimes even at Tim Hortons. I don't own Tim Hortons stock, so I'm not ashamed, you know. team Starbucks. Yeah, you can definitely, pamper yourself at the end of a long day, make yourself like a hot chocolate, tea, coffee, whatever it is, even just plain hot water, lemon water, whatever it is. That is definite pampering that doesn't have to necessarily break the bank. Now, disclaimer, I'm not advocating for you to go out and always get Starbucks. That's definitely not what I'm recommending. If you guys have seen some of my other videos, I ran a massive bill buying luxury like milk tea in China. I think I spent like $2,000. Please don't do that. Be responsible. I'm just saying you can have a little some pampering care that doesn't involve buying a bunch of luxury handbags. You can do it with like a nice hot drink. Okay, number 4, pamper yourself with skincare. So you guys know that I have made videos talking about I don't believe in designer skincare, but that isn't to say that I'm knocking it. If that is your thing, I actually think that between spending money between high-end makeup and high-end skincare, I would actually probably be team skincare, expensive skincare. Like, granted, my personal opinion, I don't tell other people to do something that I don't do. I don't buy expensive skincare, but I do think that taking care of your skin in the form of, sleeping well, not smoking, not drinking, eating healthy, in combination with, preventative skincare and protective skincare is definitely important. Again, you have to be financially responsible with these things. But all of that being said, I do think it's really nice to pamper yourself with skincare. There's something really nice about putting on a little sum at the end of the night. I know that that's not a very minimalistic tip, but I have seen that a lot of minimalists still do have, sustainable, eco-friendly, type of skincare that's in line with their values. So figure out something that works for you. If you're a high-end bougie type of girl, indulge in that. If you're a more frugal type of person, I think you can do that. I really do think you can have good skin with skincare that doesn't break the bank. So just figure out what works for you and your values. Okay, number 5, doll yourself up. So dolling yourself up is different for everybody. For some people, this could be, indulging in makeup, using your favorite outfit, trying different types of aesthetics that you might not have tried out before. I think that self-care is allowing yourself to express yourself in different ways, and for us to always evolve and change. I'm not here saying like hyper-consumption, you need to always constantly be getting new things. I don't think any of these things need to involve any money. You can definitely doll yourself up with things that you already own and that you already have. You can experiment with doing things in a different way that you might not have done. And the beautiful thing is, yes, although creativity does require more energy than just like the regular rut of routine, but I think that that is a form of self-care. You should be allowed to try different things. You should be allowed to express yourself in different ways. So yeah, I think that if you're kind of stuck in a rut or you're just not feeling your greatest, you can self-care a little bit with dolling yourself up, and it'll just put you in a different kind of energy. Okay, number 6. Cleaning the house. I think that this one might not be very typical of what is considered self-care, but I would have liked to put that as number 1 actually. When I feel like I need self-care, I clean. I think it's really important for your mental health to live in a clean environment, whatever that may be for you. Maybe less clutter, a little bit more cleaning, a little bit more mopping, a little bit more sweeping, a little bit more putting away of the dishes. I know that sounds very counterintuitive because, sometimes self-care could be like, maybe you don't need to do the dishes, maybe you don't need to do things. And actually, I'm going to disclose something. When I became a minimalist, one of the things that I decided to do that was self-care for myself was tell myself that I didn't need to do chores. I don't need to be neurotically cleaning all the time. I probably say I clean less than the typical person, only because having less clutter means that I can get away with less cleaning. I know that sounds kind of nasty, but hear me out. But that being said though, I do think cleaning is very therapeutic, and I think it's really good for our mental health. I've actually been getting more into cleaning recently, like just like mopping the floor more often. There's a tip from a monk that I follow, and his name is, he has a really long name and I dare not pronounce it. Every time I say a Japanese name, I get it wrong. I was calling Robert Kiyosaki the wrong thing for many years on my channel. But his name is here, and he has a lot of I think it's like Cleaning Like a Monk. He has a good book, and I downloaded the sample and I loved it. And he's right. There's something very therapeutic for the soul that happens when you clean. So if you're feeling a little some, I recommend just a good old clean. Okay, number 7, watch a movie. I used to knock this, and I'm not here advocating that you be blowing 6-7 hours on a Netflix binge. That's probably going to make you feel very bad. As I've always said, moderation is key. But recently I have been coming back to this idea that you can have a little bit of entertainment in your life. You can enjoy a movie. Life doesn't need to be that Spartic. So for me, granted, you have to understand where you're coming from in your life. If you're very workaholic the way I am, having a little bit of movie time is a good thing. But if you're already pretty addicted to movies and Netflix, maybe going in the opposite direction and not watching as much TV would probably be a good idea. So again, look at your life and evaluate what works for you. But for myself, I found that watching a little bit of TV, maybe one episode of Netflix or something, has really helped a lot. I've been recently watching a lot more Korean horrors, which is really weird because I absolutely hate horrors. I hate to be terrified. I'm scared of ghosts. I'm scared of monsters. I'm scared of serial killers. But I don't know, Korean horrors, just they do it so well. I always feel like they have a strong political and socioeconomic messages. If you guys have seen like The Host or Snowpiercer, Parasite, these are all really good thrillers that kind of talk about the social situation that's kind of like that discrepancy in wealth between Koreans. It really speaks to me because, even Squid Games is a good example of that. I grew up in poverty, so not poverty, I want to rephrase that. I grew up in government housing, but I used to go to an upper class school, so I kind of lived in both worlds, and it really kind of gave me a different perspective on things that has really like scarred me for many years. So I really enjoy watching horrors that touch upon this, I guess, the dark side of humanity when you grow up in, I guess, less than ideal financial circumstances. But anyway, coming back to my point, watch some movies, wind down. That might be a little bit healthier than going on a binge with chocolate. The reason I mentioned this point is because I thought that watching TV was a waste of time. So the only sense of joy that I'd ever get was like snacking at night. And then I realized it's not healthy. I need to find something healthier to do. So actually watching TV helps me wind down as opposed to, standing over the counter and finishing an entire box of Ferrero Rochers. Okay, number 7, read a book. Maybe you can pick up a new book, maybe you can read an old fave. For me, I usually download samples on my Kindle, and if I really, really, really like the sample, then I buy it. It's very rare, it's extremely rare. I feel like samples kind of give you the gist, or sometimes I might even watch the review on YouTube, and then I ×2 speed it just to get like the message. But I think that reading is really, really nice. I think that once I'm in a better financial state of being, I think I'm definitely going to be copying more e-copies of things. I'm definitely not going to get hard copies. I'm very anti-hard copy, but that is just personally like me and my take. I know that a lot of minimalists might disagree. They'd be like, no, one of the few things that they do indulge in is books, which I definitely agree. I think education is really important. So I think this is a good form of self-care, is enriching the mind. Just like you can take care of your body, you should definitely be taking care of your mind. You need to water your mind, and you can do that in different forms. I mean, you can get a lot of knowledge off of YouTube, but I think there's still a little an essence that you can't get anywhere else except from a book. And if you're a big book reader, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is your sign that if you want to read some more, definitely enjoy picking up some books for the holidays. I don't have any recommendations, but I'll be biased. If you want to cop a good read, I definitely recommend Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, and Goodbye Things by Fumio Sasaki. Those books definitely changed my life, and I definitely recommend them. If you want to check them out, go for it. I have an affiliate link, but I don't think anyone's ever clicked it. So yeah, I got a commission if you wanted to check that out. Shameless plug. Okay, so let's move on to number 9, turn on music. There's something beautiful that speaks to the soul the way that music does, in no other way than something else. You can be transported back to a memory. You can feel a certain kind of way when you hear a song. Like, there's nothing else that speaks to you that way, the way that music does. Maybe scents and smells from like the kitchen. That's also pretty like right up there. But yeah, I definitely recommend, if you want to pamper yourself, play like a nice beautiful song that speaks to you at night, wind down with that. So I recommend some lo-fi if you're into that. If you're not, whatever, floats your boat. But I think a little bit of self-care that doesn't have to be indulgent is just turning on some form of music, maybe a radio or YouTube or Spotify, whatever it is. I don't think it needs to be necessarily expensive. I think that, or even you can produce your own music. If you play an instrument, play some music for yourself. I really do think it doesn't have to be that expensive. Okay, and the very last tip, number 10, that's pretty free, and that is get more sleep. Although some people might argue sleep is for the poor, I disagree. I think personally sleep is one of the last rich luxuries that's out there. And if you've ever been a working 9-to-5 adult, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Sleep is a really big luxury. For you to be able to afford to sleep in or afford to sleep is a really big luxury. So although maybe sleeping doesn't cost any money, the ability to get good sleep definitely costs a pretty penny. So if you have that luxury, take care of yourself and have some days where you sleep in, or at least have some days where you sleep a little bit more. I think getting some quality sleep is going to make your quality of life a lot better. And this is actually a tip that I picked up from monks. A lot of them are very regimented. They only sleep 3 to 4 hours a day, and this is something that's advocated by Buddha himself. He said that he would only sleep, I think, mystical 3 hours a day. I don't know if this is true. I wasn't there. Buddha's not around. He can't stand up for himself to say no, it's true. But a lot of them have advocated that you should get some proper sleep, and meditation is a form of sleep, and that some of them would try the mystical 3 hours and it didn't work out for them, so they went back to like 4 or 5, and they found that they felt a lot better. So the principle of the idea is you're just gonna feel a lot better when you have proper sleep. So I think that you should definitely indulge in some self-care and find some time to get some good quality sleep, whether it be like, fix or alter or change your mattress, install like those blinds to keep the lights out, don't look at the lights like on your phone before you sleep. And try not to have stressful negative thoughts. before you go to bed. So comment down below if there's anything that you do that's your self-care that you feel is like very helpful, but you know, on the more frugal side. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. I'll see you guys in the next. Oh yeah. All right. So there we go. Those are 10 self-care. You get a lot of knowledge. You can get tips that I can give that you can enjoy without spending that much money.